is Joy News Prime.
Now tonight on Joy News Prime, police in the Eastern region hand 2 rogue officers who escaped whilst being transported to the regional capital, Koforidua, after they were arrested on Tuesday for attempting to rob a bullion van. There had been 2 major demonstrations over poor roads, one in Kumbungu in the northern region and another in the Volta regional capital, Ho. Meanwhile, President Mahama has been accused of incumbency abuse and vote buying after his campaign team admitted he shared outboard motors acquired by the state to fishermen in the Western region during a campaign stop.
And coming up in business, Finance Minister Seth Terkper says contribution of oil and gas sector to the country's economic growth has so far been insignificant, contributing a paltry 1% to the country's revenue since oil and gas production began in 2010.
And malfunctioning oxygen plant at the nation's premier hospital forces suspension of new patients' admission. My name is Israel. Joy News Prime is still the most comprehensive 2 hours of television news in Ghana. It is also available across Europe on ABN television station. Now, police in the Eastern region are looking for 2 rogue officers who escaped whilst being transported to the regional capital, Koforidua, after they were arrested in connection with an attempted robbery of a bullion van on Tuesday. The attempted robbery at Esukesi No. 1 in the Afram Plain South district resulted in the death of the driver of the van, whilst the police officer who was escorting the vehicle was injured when he engaged in a shootout with the gunmen. That robbery was foiled and the gunmen who were identified as police officers were subsequently arrested. Now, Lance Corporal, or the rogue officers who Joy News has learned are Lance Corporal Elvis Mensah and Corporal Daniel Kusi of the Afram Plain South District Command have since been in custody until they escaped on Wednesday when they were being transported to Koforidua. Now, Mark Jerry Osei-Ajimang, a radio show host, was at a fuel filling station at Nkoko, where the 2 suspects are believed to have escaped. He gave this account of the incident.
The incident happened around 11 a.m. at the Crown filling station in Nkoko. I was fueling my car when I realized that a white pickup, which belongs to the Donko Chrome Police Division, also were fueling their car. So I realized that 3 suspects that they have been handcuffed came out from the car, and they were escorted by one of the police officers. So all what I saw is that one of the suspects pushed the police officer who was escorting them, and they took on their wheels. That was what I saw.
All right, so Edwin Sian, our correspondent in the Eastern region, has been following this story, and we're hoping that he can get to join me on the line. But there are a few things that we know right now, and one of them is that the police, as I indicated earlier, they are hunting for these 2 officers. That's Lance Corporal Elvis Mensah and Corporal Daniel Casey, and so they're stopping and searching vehicles. So Edwin Sian, Kofi Sian, joins me on the phone right now to give us the very latest. Good evening to you, Kofi.
Good evening, Israel.
Right, we know the police was stopped searching vehicles in the vicinity where the suspects are said to have escaped, hoping they could find these rogue cops. What's the latest on that?
Well, the latest is that the police officers in the area are still conducting the search on vehicles that is passing through the principal street of Nkoko to other areas. So every vehicle that passes through the area is searched thoroughly to ensure that the suspects, the police suspects who are on the run, are apprehended. So that is the current situation now. If you pass Nkoko and its surrounding towns now, police officers are all around searching vehicles that is moving from one point of the Nkoko area to the other.
All right, we also learned residents in the community have been protesting against the police. Can you tell us why? And we've seen some pictures coming through, actually.
Immediately after the news broke that the police suspects have escaped from the hands of the police who were transporting them from Afram Plains to Nkoko. Residents had to, come together. They gathered at where the incident happened. That is the filling station in Nkoko. And they were having some arguments with the police. They believe that the police know something about what really happened. They suspect that the police actually aided the suspect to flee.
All right, Kofi, what do you know about what really happened as far as this attempted robbery is concerned?
Well, I wasn't there myself, but sources say that they were being transferred from Donkokrom to Koforidua, the regional police command. And upon reaching in Nkoko, they decided to, pass urine. So they were escorted by one police officer. And just in the process, the suspected robbers decided to push the police officer somewhere, and they escaped. Even though they were in handcuffs, as to why or how they were able to escape, that is what is beating the minds of people here in the eastern region. So that is exactly what we heard as to how the police officers were able to escape from the hands of their own colleagues.
All right, Kofi, that had to do with the escape of these rogue officers. But what I want you to tell us is, and I know you've been working your sources with the police, how did this attempted robbery actually play out, this attempted robbery involving the rogue officers?
Well, it happened yesterday, as we all know. There is this bullion van that belongs to the Ghana Commercial Bank in Donkokrom. The armed robbers, the suspected armed robbers, suspected that there were some money in the bullion van. So they attacked them, and they succeeded in murdering or killing the driver of the bullion van. So there was this police officer also on board who was also shot, but he didn't die. He sustained some injuries. And the police officers in the area mounted a search, and they were able to apprehend the three of them. One is a mechanic, and two of them are police officers with the Donkokrom Police Command.
All right, thank you very much, Edwin Kofi Sian, bringing us up to speed with this story about the escape of some two rogue officers who were being transported to Koforidua, the Eastern Regional Capital. We're told that they were involved in the attempted robbery of a bullion van somewhere in the Afram Plains South district, and Kofi Sian will be following that story to bring us the very latest on that. Now, moving away from the residents of Takla, Kpanoe and Hojo in the whole municipality of the Volta region, Wednesday embarked on a demonstration against the deplorable state of access roads linking their communities to the regional capital home. The residents are threatening to boycott the upcoming general elections if the access roads are not fixed as soon as possible. This demonstration comes days after some residents, mostly sympathizers of the governing NDC, paraded same streets to thank President Mahama for allocating the Volta region numerous development projects. Fred Kwame Asari spoke with some of the demonstrators and filed this report.
The demonstrators, mainly from Hojo, Kpanoe and Takla traditional areas, staged a massive demonstration to protest government's failure to fulfill its promise of constructing a 20-kilometer road linking their communities to Ho. According to the demonstrators, the bad nature of the roads has adversely affected economic activities in the area. They lamented that drivers have also been charging exorbitant fares with the explanation that their vehicle parts break down often. They were, however, disappointed in President Mahama for not fulfilling his promise of constructing the roads, which have never seen bitumen surfacing. The aggrieved demonstrators added that the whole Central MP, Benjamin Kpodo, during one of his visits to the area, reiterated the president's promise and assured them the roads will be constructed within the first quarter of 2016. A concerned youth of the area, Fred Ameko, told Joy News that they decided to hit the streets to remind the president of his promise and caution that if roads were not constructed, they would also reject the ballot box on election day.
we, the people of Kwenwe, Takla and Hojo, are not going to partake in the December 7th election, or even if they bring the ballot box, we'll bypass the ballot box and go to our farm because they have neglected us. So because they have neglected us, we are also going to neglect the ballot box on that fateful day.
Market women are mostly affected as they continue to bear the brunt of the deplorable road while transporting farm produce to the whole central market.
Our roads are not good. Because of this, we are unable to transport our farm produce to the market. Sometimes we are charged more than the normal fare by drivers. We are calling on government to construct the roads for us, or else we will not vote in the general elections.
Jones Kuma, who presented a strong worded petition to the president through the whole MC on behalf of the three communities, gave government a one-week ultimatum for their grievances to be addressed.
We, the indigenes of Hopeta, also deserve to benefit from the national cake, and not availing ourselves to hearing the good gospel of promises that do not materialize. We want to actually feel and experience the changing lives, transforming Ghana, that is in the Better Ghana agenda.
Of course.
Because as long as Ghanaian politicians will keep coming to us every election year for our vote, confirm the fact that we are also Ghanaians.
The MC, Fafa Adinyura, assured that government will ensure the roads are constructed soon.
I just want to assure you that I'm going to forward them the necessary protest. But I also want to say that your road will be done. Your road will be done soon. And I'm saying it again, your road will be done. So, and just hold on. And what I am saying, and I'm assuring that your road will be done. So just relax. The road is going to be done. Nothing will stop it.
Fred Kwame Asara's report for Joy News.
Right, elsewhere, residents of Bulung in the Kumbungu district of the northern region have hit the streets of the area in protest over the bad nature of their roads. According to them, the deplorable roads is depriving them access to healthcare as well as ready market for their farm produce. They say if their roads are not fixed, they would not participate in the December 7 elections.
The angry residents, clad in red shirts and holding placards, marched through the streets of the district capital to the district assembly to show their anger over the bad roads in the area. They held placards, some of which read, "John Mahama, stop sleeping. NDC, since 92, why? JM is going against us. We are tired. No road, no vote. John Mahama, remember where you are coming from." The residents threatened to boycott the December polls if government fails to fix their road. Spokesperson for the demonstrators, Seydou Safianu, read their petition.
We, the youth of Bulung and its environs, on our behalf and on behalf of chiefs and residents of the area, wish to petition the President John Dramani Mahama to, as a matter of urgency, construct the three major roads linking Bulung to Kumbung, Tolong and Nyankpala. The residents of over 30 communities who are using these roads for various purposes go through health, especially in the rainy season. It is sad to note that all business and social activities come to a halt during rainy season due to the deplorable nature of the roads.
He said about 30 communities in the area are cut off from Nyankpala, Tolong and Kumbungu during the rainy seasons, and they want government to immediately fix their roads.
Right, so we have reactions from both the NPP and NDC to these demonstrations that the country has witnessed today. We'll bring you that after when we come back from this break. Stay tuned. You're watching Joy News Prime. Welcome back to the Joy News Prime. Now, the New Patriotic Party is calling for a disclosure of funding sources and cost of First Lady Lottie Mahama's nationwide gift donation exercise, which has seen her distribute medical supplies and food items to various institutions across the country. According to the party, the timing of the gift distribution exercise is questionable and must be interrogated.
Addressing the news conference in Accra Wednesday, Acting General Secretary of the party, John Bwedu, said the gifts donated to various groups by the First Lady ran into several thousands of cedis and must be interrogated.
Mrs. Lordina Mahama has assumed a special role in the 2016 NDC campaign. She is effectively the Chief Director of Gifts. The wife of the President of the Republic is going around the country with a fleet of trucks loads of goodies, which she is sharing for votes. This ran into millions of dollars. Ghanaians deserve to know how much is being spent, who is paying for it, where is the money coming from? Is it from our taxes or from friends? Which friends? Are they friends who are also capable of winning contracts to build walls and roads and not limit their burden of walls in Ghana alone, building walls in Burkina Faso for a whooping sum of close to $600,000.
The party also outlined a number of interventions it will implement to better the lot of Ghanaians when it wins power. Key among which is the redemarcation of large regions into sizable ones to facilitate effective distribution and use of resources.
Nana Akufo-Addo believes that it is time to deepen democracy and democratic accountability in Ghana, especially after 24 years of the Fourth Republic, with no significant shift in the few areas of economic activity since the colonial days. The MPP message for this election is hinged on Nana Akufo-Addo's vision of boosting economic activity by creating and supporting viable industries in every geographical corner of this country. This is based on his commitment to create a free and prosperous society of opportunities for every Ghanaian, regardless of circumstances of birth, such as geography. The one district, one factory industrialization policy is at the heart of this. But aware of the facilitating nature of good governance to economic activity, the MPP promises to undertake significant reforms to improve service delivery at the grassroots level.
Meanwhile, anti-corruption group Ghana Integrity Initiative is warning the distribution of outboard motors to fishermen by President John Mahama in the Western region is akin to vote buying. This comes as President Mahama continues his campaign tour after the launch over the weekend. At a deba with fishermen in Sekondi, President Mahama gave the outboard motors to help improve their working conditions. But spokesperson of the NDC campaign, Joyce Bawa Mokhtari, told Super Morning Show host, or Joy FM Super Morning Show host, Kojo Yangsing, the outboard motors are part of a government intervention and not intended to buy votes.
Today, it was an opportunity for us to present these outboard motors to the community here in the Western region. Several other communities in the Greater Accra and all the other fishing communities have actually benefited from this intervention. Remember that we are a social democratic government. We focus greatly on all the other industries other than the traditional one. So yes, the fishing community is part of this industries that His Excellency the President is working to improve, to ensure sustenance, to ensure that they contribute adequately.
So what you're calling a donation is actually something paid for with state funds?
Oh, certainly. Very, very straightforward. It's something that we've been engaged in for quite some time. His Excellency has made these donations all across the country, specifically targeted at fishing communities in Ghana.
Since you are giving these items to the fisher folk and they've been paid for with state funds, is it really appropriate to do this at a party event? Is it not likely to confuse people into thinking that it is the party doing this for them when it's actually all of us as a nation paying for it?
I have explained to you that this was actually a deba for fishermen and fishmongers. As part of the activities marking the occasion, these outboard motors were given to all the districts in that community.
However, Executive Director of the Ghana Integrity Initiative, Linda Furikafo, is worried this could send the wrong signals.
Would you ask Madam Bawa? I think the response was yes, it was bought with state resources. If it was, they were bought with state resources, then it actually amounts to abuse and incumbency. And equally using, when we talk about abuse of incumbency, we have two aspects: coercive abuse and corrupt abuse. And for corrupt abuse, it's actually using state resources to fuel, to fund such activities. If the president told the whole nation that he's embarking on his campaign, then how on earth is the party using state resources to buy such gifts, which the woman referred to as donations?
Well, she clarified midway through that interview that it's actually a government intervention. He acted in his capacity as the president of the country.
A moment, as Kojo rightly said, you become confusing the electorate. If the electorate are receiving this, if they are receiving them at this time, then actually also means that you are using state resources to buy votes. And we don't do that. If you do that, you don't create a level playing field in an election, and it's not going to amount to free and fair elections because your opponents would not.
But in all of this, one thing too that we should address our minds to is this: how do we draw the line between the president doing his official business and him also campaigning?
Thank you very much. This campaign, the president called this a campaign tour, so obviously the president is not performing his official duties. The president should be able, there is a line between the two. We know for a fact that he is a certain president and he has responsibilities to perform even during those periods until the elections or whatever is over. But whilst he's doing that, he should make sure that he does not use state resources to fund.
Now, gender group Abantu for Development says it is worried government has failed to meet a lot of demands published in its manifesto in 2004. The group and some other women's groups say issues like economic equality for women have been ignored, although they spoke about them in their manifesto 12 years ago. Director Dr. Rose Mensah Kuting said this at the launch of the second edition of the Women's Manifesto. She spoke with Beatrice Edu.
You take the Women's Manifesto, there are 10 critical areas of concern that were outlined. We have women's economic empowerment, we have women and land, we have even women and the media. So there are 10 critical areas. Now, when you look at each of the areas, you see that they were discussed generally, and then the gender issues were identified. Following that, you have demands. If you look at all the demands contained in the document, there are very few that have specifically been met. For example, with women's economic empowerment, we wanted a transformation of the economy such that women and men can work and benefit from whatever resources are available.
Specifically,
the Women's Manifesto catalogues all concerns by women policymakers. Speaking at the event, the director of the Friedrich Ebert Stiftung, Fritz Kopsika, asked women to bring more to the table rather than just representation.
It is a basic truth that the underrepresentation of women in parliament, in political parties, in the ministry, in the ministries and other key institutions here in Ghana and many other places around the world is quite prevalent. There is an underrepresentation, especially in terms of numbers. It is also quite clear, and that even I, as a German living here in Ghana for a bit more than a year, that there is lack of sensitivity for women's needs and women's environment and women's lives in a male-dominated society. But at the same time, it is a basic truth for me that it seems that women's interests are sometimes quite difficult to organize, because I think there are two sometimes competing spheres. One sphere are the material interests and the cultural and social interests, many of those captured in the Women's Manifesto. And the other sphere is the political party affiliation. Sometimes these things do not seem to go together. The competition that comes in by belonging to different political camps is overriding the struggle to further women's interests in the country and the society.
Well, less than 4 months to the December elections, it appears Ghanaians are likely to have more options on who to vote for as far as the presidency is concerned, as more than 35 persons are seeking to unseat President Mahama. With 25 political parties already registered, the EC says as many as 11 more are still waiting for certificates to contest the presidential election. Deputy EC Chair Amadou Sule made the revelation at the launch of the 2016 peaceful election post-stamps by Ghana Post. Joy News' Joseph Akable. Those are the news conference and reports.
The program was organized by Ghana Post to outdoor its new stamps. This is the postal agency's contribution to the call for a peaceful elections. Addressing a press conference, Deputy Chair of the Electoral Commission, Amadou Sule, said the commission has so far adhered to guiding principles of electoral practices to ensure that the polls are credible.
Mr. Chairman, the commission has put up certain mechanisms in place to ensure a credible election this year, that is both the presidential and parliamentary elections. And I want to assure you that the Commission is adhering to the guiding principles of electoral justice. There are various activities in there. One, that is leaning on the law, the legal framework. Two, transparency and participation, accountability, integrity, timeliness, accuracy. These are all guiding principles, and we are ensuring that we link to that.
Mr. Amadou also revealed that 11 other parties are seeking certificates of approval from the Electoral Commission.
When I talk of our critical stakeholders, I'm not talking about the registered political parties. Monthly IPAC meetings from January up to date. We are now in the 8th month. When I say IPAC, the acronym is Inter-Party Advisory Committee. It's made up of all registered political parties, series of meetings, and IPAC has a 3-tier system. We have the IPAC, which is at the top level, the RIPAC, which is the Regional Inter-Party Advisory Committee, and the DIPAC, the District Inter-Party Advisory Committee. You see, what happened at the top gets to the region, up, down, and bottom up. You see, these are issues that were discussed at the level of the commission with all the national executives of the registered political parties. As I talk now, we have 25 registered political parties in our records. And I want to tell you there are 11 which are trying to come. Before I left the office yesterday, 2 were telling me, please, you've given us the provisional certificate. When are we getting the final one? So you see, if we should get the 11 on board, plus the 25, those of you who are mathematicians.
On his part, Managing Director for Ghana Post, Mr. Eric Yao, said electoral violence that has plagued other countries affected postal services as well as other activities. It was thus important for all citizens to get on board the call for peace. Mr. Yao said this was the contribution of Ghana Post.
Getting to this stage has not been easy, but with determination and persistence, Ghana Post today has made a great stride in our effort to tell the world that Ghana stands united and we are solidly protecting the peace of our dear nation.
Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Authorities at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital are unsure when they will begin admitting patients into the maternity ward after the oxygen plant at the hospital malfunctioned. The plant, which serves the maternity ward, is currently operating below capacity, forcing hospital authorities to refer the emergency cases to other medical facilities. More in this report by Jennifer Kwamwa.
The country's largest referral medical institute, Korle Bu Teaching Hospital, has been forced to refer its own patients after the oxygen plant at the maternity ward began malfunctioning over the weekend. Korle Bu Hospital PRO Mustafa Salifu says a team of engineers is working on restoring the plant, but it's uncertain when the plant will be fully operational.
And thankfully yesterday we were able to fix the plant, and the engineers are
just doing their auditing to establish that, yes, everything is up to scratch. And when that happens, if they give us a clean bill of health, we will then advise the department to resume normal operations.
Mr. Salifu assured there are measures in place to ensure the health and safety of pregnant women seeking treatment.
We needed to scale back operations so that we will not endanger the lives of patients, because we need oxygen in order to take care of patients in the theater. We need oxygen in the labor ward to assist our patients to deliver. So if we don't have oxygen on the regular basis, then you'll be endangering the life of patients if you still go ahead to admit them, and yet you don't have this critical component to see them. That is why we started asking patients to go to other facilities within the metropolis whilst the engineers work on the plant to restore normal operations.
For Joy News, Jennifer Kwamwa.
Now, police in the Ashanti region are soliciting for greater cooperation from residents in the fight against crime. The request comes a day after the arrest of suspected criminals believed to be behind recent robbery attacks in which a number of victims were killed. Joining us, Kwesi Deborah has more in this report.
Public Relations Officer at the Regional Command says a handful of informants have accounted for the recent success in crime combat. ASP Mohammed Yusuf Tanko tells Love FM's David Akwete the region will be a no-go area for criminals with a bit more public support.
I have to congratulate especially the people of Kumasi, because they have assisted us a lot. Most of the successes that we make in our crime management in the region are assistance that we receive from them, and that is very commendable. And we are also saying that, yes, these people, in fact, the people who give us information are not many. In spite of the fact that they are not many, we've used their information very well, and it has helped us a lot in crime management in the region.
Joy News asked a section of the public what they think about the police appeal.
Because when you go there, they ask you that how sure are you that person is an armed robber, and sometimes they'll even be demanding money from you.
Farmer say case in the wire case no name mum as why then why am memory and a farmer in Busan say na memory ben why I say this why then uyi kakra to ho no say I won't even chire because in pan e na wonu na nso nu no but no not say wo na be chire ya na so that means ni pan so bia yantimi wan ko wi ade me acha bet ntebe ni paru a na why wo ho adwene de ehintri bi opo wait me de ni pan so de ona mo no ko we usruiti no e fence hu hia. And at the same time, because we been in some son, and Basana, Yana, when I'm here, as I count, whose side is our room. So, police for them, they mean you money.
Patrol police for Nankasan, so Kumeki, that comment, say, Bia, aha, go for sale how more hard and I be say. No more banom, but show me not some do Mokwa, not some call for the back and crow for every trace come on, we are. A multimeter almost as missing. In a buy a better portal case in a ma or personal no hotchero or muntim bon ho by at that time it's able to be an a one son or a palma
for Joy News.
But that's it for the bulletin. For more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com. One of the stories we have there, President Mahama is to turn the valves tomorrow for the 10 oil to flow. But residents apparently are unamused by all of that. Stay tuned to the rest of our programs for today, but make a date, same time tomorrow for Joy News Prime. Have a good evening.
This is Joy News Prime.